detail. And it was kind of this like gift from God, like, hey, here's your movie.
Because you wouldn't have thought of that.
I've given you a blockbuster, yeah. But it's truly only by doing the most insane things possible that I think you can really achieve your vision sometimes.
Of course. And do you think that's something you'll carry with you no matter what the budget is? That sort of
Yeah.
DIY heart?
Oh my God. I mean, it feels weirder to do the opposite for me. Like I'm kind of like it feels stranger to be like the person that's like, oh, it's someone else's job now to get the turkey and figure out how it explodes.
Yeah.
I thought
Well,
I was going to be like trying to figure this out for the next 4 months and like exploding turkeys in my backyard.
it's like I think the only way I've ever done stuff is kind of okay, what's the black box version of this that we can do? What's the most reduced down to the absolute purest, most distilled element that we can work with here? Because there's no room for the, extravagant. So what's the thing we
Yeah.
can get away with to get the beat and make that work? Because I won't have any room for anything else but that.
Yeah, but I mean, I kind of love that. I kind of love like dollar store cinema, and I think you come up with like really creative, ingenious things in that process, and everything feels like because it's so hard won by like that I always felt like, oh, the film will always be better because I have like put so much like blood, sweat, and tears into this with all of these other collaborators. And I think learning how to let go and trust that people get your vision and sort of are going to do that work for you. Like it can be hard to let that go.
Is that something that you'll take with you? Are you able to do that now and kind of just talk to department heads and people that are those experts that have been doing this, people that have, as you said, they've been doing the props on PTA movies and they just literally have designed hell. They know what they're doing. You just have to put trust in them. Is that the control
Oh
that's hard to
yeah.
let go of? Or
I mean, I think if you, yeah, I think it's like I always feel like you just want to hire people that have like the spiritual essence of the movie, like within them. You could hire someone who's like extremely experienced and won an Oscar before, but if you don't feel like there's someone you feel comfortable with and you don't feel like they understand what the movie is, like not everyone is right for every project. Like you want the person whose soul kind of embodies what the film is, like even if they're like the second grip or something, like they're still pushing the camera on the dolly, and you want the way that the camera's moving to like feel like the film.
that makes perfect sense. Yeah. I think that you need those things when you're 10, 12, 14 hours into a day and you have people that are passionate about the work that really care about it. If somebody, again, their heart's not in it, that will show in the work. I genuinely believe that. So
Yeah, and I feel really lucky that I've gotten to work with a lot of really really brilliant collaborators like on every budget level. Like my costume designer Courtney Mitchell who worked on my first two movies, like she is an absolute genius and like was like tearing apart four polo shirts to make one polo shirt for my first film because she like wanted the exact right proportions of
yeah,
like the sleeve hit the crook of the elbow and just like is just such a brilliant designer. And all the cinematographers I've worked with have been so caring and thoughtful and really 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 want to go deep with the project and that really does make like all the difference, and it makes you feel more comfortable too.
absolutely. And that's really, at the end of the day, the thing that's most important for everybody, the performers, the crew,
Yeah.
everybody, just to feel comfortable and that they can do their best work in that environment, I think.
Yeah, and I think also just having really caring producers that want to go the extra mile with you and that you feel safe like communicating with. Like I'm really grateful to my first group of producers, Lindsay Blair Goldner and Evan Dubinsky, who like kind of, in the middle of COVID were like, yeah, we're gonna shoot this feature and they really kind of got me everything that I wanted and asked for and just worked really tirelessly to kind of go on this journey with me and yeah.
Well, Chandler, I got to say, I'm super excited for people to see this film.
Thank you.
I love that this is the type of movie that I don't want to watch it with my 15-year-old son, but I really want him to see this movie. It's not, I'm a typical, American where there's elements of it that are uncomfortable for me around to see like any.
Oh, it's not so bad.
It's not, no, it's not bad at
It's a
all.
lot of foul language, but
No,
yeah.
no, the foul language doesn't bother me, but it's just it's the idea of, I don't know. There's things that I want him to see, but I want him to discover it on his own. So I kind of want to just like leave the keys sitting out for him to find it on his own and not have it come from his old man in a sense that,
Oh,
because then when he has that ownership of finding it himself, and I really hope that he will see this, because I think this is a great movie for young boys to see as well. And not only for anybody that has, because he's one of those kids that's of that Zoom generation and that coming out of that's been hard. So I want him to, see that he's not alone in that sense.
oh, that's so sweet. I please send me his full report, good or bad.
I will.
I love to know what he thinks. I mean, I was just like so obsessed with movies as a teenager, and sometimes they were like my best friends, and like, so I, to make anything that like young people can see or relate to that gets them out of a hard time or that they can take comfort in or just watch when they're like procrastinating on something else and find mildly entertaining, like that's such a gift. And I don't know, I'm really interested in what this younger generation is doing in the world of cinema. I think anytime I go to the movies, like it's full of people in their like late teens and early 20s seeing like archival prints on like 70 millimeter. And to me, it's really exciting, like how tapped in this young generation is into like cinema culture and stuff. So,
well, you had to go when I was a kid, you had to go to the cool video store that was separated by directors. You didn't have IMDb to go look through everything. You had to you had to go do a little bit of work to figure all that stuff out. And now they have, and I'm not saying in a bad way, like it wasn't better. I love the fact that they can go see a 70 millimeter print of Lawrence of Arabia, or something like that, a 15-year-old kid now probably has a better chance of knowing who David Lean is than a 50-year-old, a contemporary of mine does. So, and I kind of love that.
It is kind of crazy, like having access to everything. And you're right. Like, I think for me, like the only way I found out about bands was like, the only band that I knew about in love was the Strokes. And
sure. Yeah.
And I remember seeing them on the cover of Spin magazine and being like, how can they be on the cover of Spin? Like, I thought I only knew about them. And then reading an interview with them, and then they said that their favorite bands were like Television and like the Velvet Underground. So then I went to the library and I checked out the CDs for like Marquee Moon and like the Velvet Underground and Nico. And then I listened to those bands, and then I found out what bands those bands liked. And like, that's how I learned about like the 70s punk rock, like CBGB scene,
Yeah.
And like, that's what like made me want to listen to all of the Ramones catalog, and but it was just like such a harder, more like analog way to like learn about music, and that was very satisfying. And I don't know, it's like interesting how when you have access to everything, things feel more disposable too. Like you don't have the same kind of like intense emotional connection that I had to like my broken CD of Kid A by Radiohead that I listened to like
such a great record
90,000 times and like carried with me, and I would just walk down the hall listening to like Idiotech and feel it being like I'm in space, like I like my emotional relationship to media was so intense.
I think there was a generation that skipped that, and I think people my age have gone away from it. But I think that they're the ones that are pushing the vinyl sort of resurgence. They're the ones that are pushing even audio cassettes, which sound like shit. I don't know why those are coming back, but they're super into those again. And so they do see the importance of things that are tactile, that have permanence, and that aren't disposable, and why they actually seem to value communal experience more than other generations, or than generations haven't in a long time. So they'll go to concerts, they'll go to the movie theater, they'll do those things. They'll feel connected to people, which is huge.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes total sense. Like, I think if you have to live like some of the most formative moments of your life, like on a computer alone, like, and then you get the chance to experience things again, in the world and go see like Geese in concert or,
Yeah.
whatever is like fueling you. Like, yeah, those things are really, really emotional. Like, I remember seeing a movie for the first time on the big screen, like when you're finally allowed to watch movies in theaters again. And it was so emotional for me. And I just like, it's such a beautiful, like rarefied thing. And I was like so shocked and like amazed by just seeing a film like projected in a movie theater. And I was like, wow, this is just like what a sacred, like beautiful art form this is. I was watching like Pig by the Nicolas Cage
Okay.
movie,
Yeah.
which is a great movie, but like
Great
at
movie.
that time I was like, this is transcendent. And now I'm like taking it more for granted again, but I'm living in LA right now and like I still try to go to like the Vista Theater all the time. I saw One Battle for Another on Vista Vision, which was so
So
cool. And
cool. Good for
there's so
you.
many great projections in LA and like awesome, IMAX screens on 70 millimeter and stuff. So I feel very lucky.
Yeah, yeah, and it's one battle after another. That's a reminder of all the reasons I fell in love with movies in the first place, all in one. It's that
Yeah.
thing of, I think that I've seen every car chase that there can be done until you watch that and you go, oh, there's still water in that well that I had no idea
Oh
you
my
could still
God.
tap that.
The shot of just those hills like over and over again. God,
So
amazing.
beautiful. It's amazing. But thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I got
Yeah,
one last question, and I'm sorry, I
sure.
know we went a little bit over. You mentioned something earlier that that you became a film fan when you were a teenager, or something to that. Do you remember what the film was that kind of cracked your mind open and said, "Oh, this is the one where I truly see myself in a movie, and maybe I can tell a story about someone like me."
Yeah, I mean, I think it was like the combination of seeing Almost Famous by Cameron Crowe
Of course.
and Rushmore,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Yeah.
by Wes Anderson and Ghost World, the Terry Swyckoff
Of
movie.
course.
Like those three movies, I think I saw them when I was 15, and all of them just like completely made me feel like so seen and opened up the world for me. And I thought they were like the best combination of being like heartbreaking and funny and romantic and sad. And they're all about people that are like kind of losers, but like and people that think that they're smarter than and are
Oh
like
my.
really living in the world of adults, right?
Yeah.
As a teenager. Um yeah, I related to all of them so much, and I still think they're like just wonderful, exquisite films.
They absolutely are. And mine's actually very similar, where it was Harold and Maude, because it was,
Oh,
again, it was
cool.
the teenager living in an adult's world. I mean, I didn't date anybody that was 60 years older than me at any point in my life, but I did.
That you want to talk about on this podcast.
Not that I want to talk about now openly, but it was something where it was that outsider, that goofball, that somebody who doesn't quite fit in, who has a dark sense of humor, but somebody who thinks that they are far more intelligent than they probably are. So
Yeah.
when I was a 16-year-old, that is 100% who I was, encapsulated in a movie. And I, it's funny how good art it's static, but your relationship to it changes. And so
Mhm.
now I see the humor in that film a lot differently than when I was a kid, where the tragedy of it is much more apparent than when I was a kid. So, and I think that's the case with all those. It's something like Ghost World. You go back that and watch that as an adult, and there's just a sadness in it that I didn't really recognize when I was 20 when I first saw that movie.
Yeah, I also feel like the music and movies and art that like you get obsessed with when you're 15, like it really kind of sticks around and kind of like is the core foundation of like who you are, like whether you like it or not. And like, there's lots of albums that I've been very taken with, but like I'll never hear an album the way I first heard like Is This It by the Strokes. Like
Yeah.
it just like clings to me and it's like so formative. And so we're all kind of a product of like every album and movie we've ever loved and sometimes you pick up new ones or other people that you fall in love with like make you see things in a new light, but like those are really like the fundamentals.
Well, and you'll never have as much time as you did when you were 16 to rewatch something 30 times. So
That is true too.
I think
Yeah.
there's something in that where you're able to really revisit things over and over and over again because, well, physical media was the only way that I was able to really watch movies when I was a kid. So you had to own it. And I didn't have that many at the time. And now I'm at a point where I could never own another movie again. And there's probably things on there I would never get around to watching at this point, which is really sad, but they're there. So I can get to them hopefully eventually.
Yeah. You just lock in.
Yeah, that's it. But thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it. It was great to meet you.
Yeah, lovely to meet you too. Thank you so much for all your questions and thank you so much for the kind words about the film. Like, you're one of the first people that I've talked to who's seen it. So I'm kind of like, I don't even know what I've made yet. So it's really neat.
So you made that thing for a 15-year-old. There's going to be people, it's usually like 5 to 10 years behind. So there's going to be like a 12 or 13-year-old that's going to find this movie. And it is going to be their shit. This is going to be the movie that they watch over and over and over again. And you're just going to, I swear, this is one of those ones that's going to hang out for a little while. A lot of the thumbnail movies disappear, but I think you've made one that's going to have resonance. So,
well, that's so nice. That's like, I think all we wanted to do was like try to make a classic. So
you did. That's it. Nothing more than that. Just make a classic.
Have a really lovely day. Really lovely to meet you.
You as well.
Time enough to figure you out. Time enough to write this down. Wish me luck, give me hope. So I fall one more time, and I'll say I can't save you. Fell down into the bathroom. My voice cracked.